All right, let's be honest. If you've ever felt like you're just drowning in a sea of spreadsheets, trying to stitch together a monthly report, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we are going to go from total chaos to crystal clarity.
You know, this quote I saw on Reddit, it just hits so close to home for so many of us. You're hired to be a strategist, right? A creative thinker, an analyst. But you end up feeling like a full-time report mechanic, just constantly fixing things that break.
Ugh, the monthly grind. You know this dance. It's the end of the month, so you're exporting data from GA4. Then you're pulling stuff from Search Console. You try to Frankenstein it all together in Google Sheets, and then you spend hours trying to make it look halfway decent in PowerPoint. It's a fragile process, and it's especially soul-crushing when something breaks at like 11 p.m. the night before the big meeting.
Yeah? I'm guessing that sounds pretty familiar. This whole manual, repetitive, error-prone cycle is just a massive time sink. It pulls you away from the work that actually moves the needle. But what if there was a better way?
So we've definitely established the pain of manual reporting. Now let's talk about the solution. And this is where the hero of our story enters the scene. Looker Studio, a tool that's basically designed to put that monthly grind out of its misery for good.
So what is it exactly? Well, Looker Studio is a free tool from Google that turns your data into these beautiful, fully customizable dashboards. And the keywords here are no cost and customizable. It's all about taking that raw, messy data and making it not only look good, but making it interactive and actually insightful.
And the difference it makes is just, it's night and day. The old way, that means data silos, where your ad data never ever talks to your sales data. It means manual updates and sending out these static PDFs that are literally out of date the second you hit send. Looker Studio just flips that whole script. You get a unified view, you get real-time data, and you get interactive dashboards that your team can actually dig into and explore.
Okay, so how does Looker Studio actually pull this off? Well, the real secret sauce is in how it connects to all your different data sources.
The workflow is actually brilliantly simple. It's just 3 steps. First, you connect to your data sources. Google Analytics, your ad platforms, your CRM, whatever. Second, you model the data. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying you tell it what your metrics and dimensions are. And third, you visualize it all in a report using these easy drag-and-drop charts and tables. And when we say connect, we are not kidding. Looker Studio supports over 800 different data sources. Now, of course, this includes all the Google stuff you'd expect, but it also includes databases like BigQuery and hundreds of partner connectors for platforms like Facebook Ads, Shopify, Salesforce, you name it. Your data is probably not out of reach.
You also get a choice in how your data is handled, which is really cool. You can use a live connection, which means your dashboard is always showing the most up-to-the-minute info. Or if you're working with a massive data set, you can use an extracted source. That takes a snapshot of your data to make everything load super fast. So you're choosing between freshness and speed. And now we get to the real magic. This is where we go beyond just making pretty reports and start unlocking insights that were, previously totally hidden away in different spreadsheets. So the first piece of magic is something called calculated fields. Now, don't let the name scare you. It's just a formula that lets you create a brand new metric from the data you already have. So, for example, instead of just seeing your revenue and your cost, you could create a new field for profit margin just by writing a simple formula like profit divided by revenue right inside your report. No more spreadsheets. And you've got flexibility here. You can add a field directly to the main data source itself, which means it's available in any report that uses it. Or if you just need a quick one-off calculation, especially when using blended data, you can create a field that only lives inside that one specific chart. Each has its place. It just depends on how permanent you need that new metric to be.
Okay, now for the second and, I would argue, the most powerful piece of magic, data blending. This is where you can literally merge completely different data sources into a single chart. The whole trick is just finding one common field, they call it a join key, to link them together. This could be something simple like a date, a campaign name, or maybe a customer ID.
Let's look at a super practical example. So imagine this first chart here shows your ad spend for each campaign. It's pulling this data directly from your Facebook ads account. Pretty simple, right? It just tells you what you spent.
Okay, now look at this second chart. This shows the sales revenue for those exact same campaigns, but this data is coming from a totally different system, your Shopify store. It tells you what you earned. Now, separately, these are both useful, but they don't give you the full story. And this is what happens when you blend them. By joining those two data sources using the campaign name, we can create a single chart showing the true return on investment for each campaign. And suddenly, right there, you have an insight that was literally impossible to see when your data was locked up in separate systems. This is the goal. This is the good stuff. But look, having a powerful tool is not enough. You have to know how to use it well. And that brings us to the craft of designing dashboards for clarity, not for clutter. The folks over at Measure School said it perfectly. A dashboard isn't effective just because it's packed with a ton of charts. It's effective if someone can look at it and immediately get it, immediately gain an insight. The goal is always understanding, not information overload. So how do we get there? Here are a few pro tips for you. First, get rid of all those distracting, high-contrast shapes and backgrounds. Then, question every single element. Like, does that giant map of the world really add value, or is it just taking up space? Sometimes, a simple filter control is way more effective than a whole new chart. And finally, try to fit everything on one screen. Nobody wants to scroll forever. And here is a fantastic feature that helps with that. It's called optional metrics. So instead of cramming, say, 5 different metrics into one table and making it totally unreadable, you can add them as optional. This lets your viewers toggle on and off the specific data they care about, which keeps the default view super clean and focused. So let's bring all this home. We've gone from the real pain of manual reporting all the way to the power of automated, insightful dashboards. So what does this really mean for you? This journey from chaos to clarity, it's really about 4 key transformations. First, you get to unify all your data in one place. Second, you can completely automate your reporting workflow. Think of all the hours you'll save. Third, you can create interactive, real-time dashboards that actually empower your stakeholders. And most importantly, you can finally start to uncover those deeper business insights, like true ROI, that are going to drive real growth. Because at the end of the day, every data point, every click, every sale, it's all part of a larger story about your business. For way too long, that story has been trapped in spreadsheets and static PDFs. So the real question is, with tools like this at our fingertips, are you finally ready to listen?